Black marriage is love.
Black marriage is family.
Black marriage is faith.
Black marriage is good food.
All right. Peace to you and yours, and welcome to Dinner and a Podcast, where Black married couples discuss love, faith, family, and food for the soul. Tonight, I'm your host, Leanne, and I'm here with my co-host, my beautiful husband, and our wonderful brother-in-law, Nasi, and his beautiful wife, Nafisa, will be joining us shortly. All right.
You do understand that my name isn't Wonderful Husband. You didn't say my name.
I'm sorry. It's loud.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. My wonderful husband, Ijlal. Okay. All right. Dinner and a Podcast is broken up into 3 courses. Our first course is the appetizer. Then we have our main course, and then we have our dessert. During each course, we'll hit you with some well-seasoned questions, some soul-stirring discussions, and some sweet reflections. For tonight's topic, we are talking about bending the needle. But before we get into it, we're going to talk about our dinner. Our sister, Nafisa, would usually go over our dinner with me, but my brother, Nasi, can you tell us what you guys are having tonight?
All right, yo, listen, just to let everybody know, everybody that's watching online, I did not cook anything. This is all my wife. Right? Oh, I would not
assume that much.
So she laid it down, man. She made some fried whiting, and
man, that looks good.
Because it is seasoned really good. I ain't gonna even lie, like I snuck a few pieces in prior to this, and I was telling her I don't think I really need this food in front of me because I'm just ready to go in.
Right, right.
She started her homemade biscuits.
Nice.
Okay.
This is, I don't want to give a recipe away. That'd be up to her. But she started with a homemade biscuits. These are great. And she had some potato salad.
Ooh.
There you go.
This one is very interesting. She took her time to blend a few fruits together. And she came up with this beautiful halal concoction. It is beautiful. It tastes great. I know one of the fruits in here is oranges. Put a few together, and we get some Vince's bottles. We clean them out from like lemonade or something. We use them, and we make our own juices and stuff. This is very, very, very beautiful. So she put a few of these juices fruits together, and she came up with this beautiful concoction. Everything is good, man. I'm just want to start talking before I start eating, so I'm waiting for y'all, man.
Hey, alhamdulillah. She would be so proud.
Yes, she would.
So proud of how you just laid that out.
Good job, bro.
Good job. And since the brother went, why don't you tell us what we got here tonight?
But see, he went because his wife isn't.
Yeah. You give it a whirl,
right.
brother.
You're gonna regret it. Anyway, so all right, bust it.
Never mind.
None. I told you. All right. So what we have here for the appetizer is some grilled corn.
Yes.
All right.
There you go.
Getting my Vanna White on.
Vanna Black.
My Vanna Black man on, and then all right for the right that was it, yeah, for the main. Oh, this is what is this? Is like
garlic aioli.
Yeah, I mean garlic aioli. There's some garlic aioli for the corn, and then for the main course we got vegan
just vegetable.
Vegetable. I'm sorry, vegetable kebab, which consists of mushrooms, onions, 3 different pepper types, whatever they are, red, yellow, and orange. Whatever, are they just called yellow and red and orange peppers?
Yeah, they're just
That's it. Okay, see, that's what's up. I know what that is. All right, and then we got some grilled chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Grilled chicken with
looking good.
Yeah, with some barbecue sauce. I think there was something else mixed in that.
Just like some hot sauce.
So okay, some barbecue sauce and some hot sauce, and then of course, what's a grill without some barbecue beans and not mac and cheese, macaroni salad. Thank you so much. And then what is this again?
Cherry lemonade spritzer.
Cherry lemonade spritzers. Oh yeah, and for those who need some bread,
Sweet.
We got the sweet rolls.
All right, looking good, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You did great.
I did cook all of this.
I mean, that's right, my brother.
I did not cook all of this.
Like you did not.
Nope.
All right.
I did turn these beans. I did stir the beans. I stirred the beans.
We'll give you that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, brothers, for sharing that with us. All right, y'all. We're going to get into this appetizer. And for our appetizer, we have, do you think compromise is vital for maintaining a healthy marriage? So like we said, our title and topic for today is bending the needle. And bending the needle is all about compromise. So why don't you go first, Ijlal, and tell us, do you think compromise is vital for maintaining a healthy marriage?
So yes, I do think that compromise is vital for maintaining a healthy marriage. Simply because, even though you're married and you're sharing this and you're sharing that, so on and so forth, you're still individuals. Okay, and individuals are clearly going to have differences of opinion. You know what I mean? Going to think one way and you're going to think another. So whenever that's a reality, a common byproduct of an individual or individuals conversating is disagreement.
Right.
So it is extremely important to make sure that there is, even though there's going to be a disagreement, which is no problem, making sure that you come together on some level of terms or whatever that allow you both to be able to move forward, with a peace of mind. So yes, compromise, I believe, is very vital to a healthy marriage.
Okay.
Definitely.
I definitely think that within any relationship you develop, whether it's marriage or just other relationships that you might have, but especially marriage, you have to learn to compromise, so it's kind of like a give or take, sometimes you have to let things go.
And take.
Give and take. Yes. Sometimes you have to let things go. And sometimes you may have to say, okay, I'm not going to be the one to compromise this time. Right. But for the most part, yes, I think it's vital to a healthy marriage that you understand that you need to compromise with your partner. Yeah. How about you, brother?
Definite. There's no way about it. You have to. Marriage is like building a fortress, building a castle, building a building. You gotta compromise. You gotta make changes. It's like if you're building a fortress, right? Somebody needs to know, okay, what's the best material to use? How do you let the water come in? Where you're going to dispose of the waste? And somebody got to be willing to give up control, give up power at that point to somebody else who knows better. So a lot of times in relationships, marriages, which we're in, we got to, yes, you gotta bend the needle, and a lot of it is just against ourselves.
Right.
We gotta say, listen, can I give you control at this moment? Can I give you control over something that's going to affect me, you, and if we have children? So bending the needle is vital because it's the only way that your marriage will survive and grow and be strong.
Right. I definitely agree. I it makes me think about that episode of the Cosby Show where Elvin, Bill was like basically, telling him like when Sandra says something, just put his hands up, just put your hands up. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think so. I do agree. Compromise strengthens the foundation as well, so I definitely think we need to always ensure that, we compromise with our partners.
Yeah, I tried, wasn't completely successful at it, but a lot of times I say to myself, okay, you know what? Pick your battles.
Yeah.
Right? Something I very much had to learn. Pick your battles. You ain't got to argue about every single thing, it's just weigh certain things out, right? Like, this thing here, it's not that serious. So fine. Okay, if you want it, whatever. Just singling out what you can go to sleep with and what is going to keep wrestling with you. And it's like, okay, the thing I'm going to keep wrestling over, that's what we got to have a discussion on. The thing that I could be like, all right, whatever, it don't have to be my way. So you learn to pick your battles.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree.
By the way, this corn is freaking good.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it's funny.
Okay. With the garlic.
What is this sauce again?
Garlic aioli.
Garlic who?
Aioli.
Garlic aioli. That's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If you guys haven't noticed yet, my baby's an eater, so.
No, go, good brother. This garlic aioli.
I can imagine, man.
Next time we get up, man, for real. You're going to have to have some of this.
Yes, right.
All right, y'all.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like I said, Dinner and a Podcast is split up into 3 courses, and now we're going to enter our main course, okay? So we're done with our appetizer, and let's see what we have for our main course. And our first question is, in what ways have you compromised to maintain a healthy marriage? So in what ways have you compromised to maintain a healthy marriage? Brother Nasi, I'm going to let you answer this one first.
All right.
Please, I'm trying to finish this corn.
Yeah, because he can't.
One of the ways I learned to compromise in my marriage, to bend the needle, I had to come to the conclusion that the way I grew up, it worked great for my household. It worked great for my circumstances. It worked great for my situation. I had to come to realize that there are more than one way to go about things.
Right.
I had to understand that the new situation I'm in, the new marriage I'm in, the new situation I'm in, had to allow me to open up my visions to say, yo, you know what? The way I went about this all my life was great. It was right. It wasn't nothing wrong.
Right.
It's not fitting this particular situation here.
Right.
So for me, that was like, okay, I'm used to doing A, B, and C. Somebody's coming with X, Y, and Z. I'm not familiar. This is unfamiliar territory. I had to learn to bend, which we don't all want to say is learn to trust that was going to work. So that was one. That was one thing that for me to do that. One of the biggest things I think, and it was something small. It was so small. Like I could get into bigger things, smaller things. Eating, right? All my life, I know people will laugh. They probably online looking at this. All my life, we always ate and talked, and we had our own plate, right? Nobody liked nobody's hands going in nobody's plate. Nobody liked none of that, right? My wife getting married, and we married. Good time. We go out. She orders this plate, this big plate, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh yeah, they got any side plates, some sauces or something like that. It was something so small. I just had to learn how to just honestly eat off the plate, take this, use our fingers, eat, going back forth together. I was not used to that, and I know that it's so small, but it was like, oh,
It was tripping you out.
Small, but it was like, damn, like why we got to do this? But here's the thing.
Gotta do this.
Right?
What is love about?
For me, that was a bend. But we definitely get into more serious things. That was the bend. You know what? That little thing helped build us closer. So I mean, that was something I could start off with. That's something was small, and that was something I had to learn, as I got married,
Yeah. That's interesting.
I tell y'all this. All right. One of the biggest clashes I think me and my wife had was about when it came to certain aspects of raising our children. Right? So I don't know how you guys, I'm gonna definitely, you guys try to, put me on with this, but I spoke to my good brother here, no offense to you, your family. But I remember at first, I had to kind of bend the needle slowly. And I remember my wife was like, okay, I want this person to watch my child, this person to watch my child, this person. I was like, and why should I want everybody to watch? I don't, they still strangers to me. I don't know them like that. Like, and she looking at me like, okay, well, I said this is good. And I'm sitting there like, let me get to know you a little better. Let me get to see what's going on. It took a long time for me just to feel comfortable with someone, watching, my child. I just know them. And for me, that was like, okay, because when I grew up, we didn't do sleepovers and go to people's houses and stuff like that because there was too much happening. Too much happening. Obviously the biggest thing is, somebody trying to force themselves in a sexual manner on you. That was something concern. So it took a lot for me just to get comfortable with that. And that was hard for me. For her, it was easy. It was like, okay, this is nothing. We always do this. We do this with ease. And I'm like, why? I got to get to know people. I get to know them. We be around this person. Because then people's like, oh, yeah, we got him. I'm like, I still don't know you, It took a lot of back and forth. And I remember one of the first times outside of an emergency that, my son was watching, my eldest, we went to see Black Panther. And your sister and your mother had watched him. And I was, Umi, it was all good, but it was just like, it still was new for me to be like, well, I'm leaving him right away because we grew up in my home, even though we had issues and challenges, it still was us most of the time. And then it was my mother's sister's family who we was really close with. I didn't realize how that affected me when I got out because I was like, oh man, like wow, I'm so used to these particular faces and is watching the children be because I never thought nothing of it because I'm like, okay, but we always watched each other. Now I'm saying, wow, I gotta have this person watch my child, and it was like, oh, because I wasn't faced with that. So now I'm like, so that was like a compromise and trying to a dilemma between both of us because one thing is not trying to insult my wife by saying nothing bad about her family or assuming nothing or making it even sound like that. And that was something we had to work through on both ends. And I mean, that was a little challenging. I had to do some adjusting myself because I had such a strain on the relationship where she's just like, you looking at my people in such a negative light. So that for me was the difficult part. That was challenging for me at first,
The compromise I was going to mention when we were doing the show, coming up with the show, was she doesn't like being kissed when she's eating.
Oh my gosh.
I'm serious, man.
I'm not a bird. Who likes that?
I mean, it was ridiculous. I'm like, if I can't have food in my mouth, I can't just be like, baby, it should be, there's food in your mouth.
Okay. So he's about to get into like my personal things that I don't like.
No. But I'm saying, let me explain, right?
Okay.
Because there's a reason for it.
I mean,
I'm not like that. I'm just like, okay, look, you're my wife, so you kiss me, I kiss you, da 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 da. Why or how could there ever be a situation where you feel uncomfortable kissing me or me kissing you?
When you dig what I'm saying? Food in your mouth.
Like, but understand
when you have food in your mouth.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, you stick some food in your mouth. Let me finish again. But understand the thinking. I'm saying to myself, this is crazy. How is there a situation where you don't feel comfortable kissing me or receiving a kiss from me? What is that about? That's how I'm looking at it.
When you have food in your mouth. Like.
So even though it's a simple thing, it bothered me. And look, 15 years in, man, alhamdulillah, I've learned that this is just who she is.
Yeah.
She's just a weird person.
You asked me for a kiss today, and you have food in your mouth, and I gave you a kiss.
You see how she said it? And I prayed and sweated it out and decided to eventually let go and kiss you. Like, it's just, you see?
There are a lot of things I don't like, okay? And he knows it. And it's just like...
Yes.
But they're disgusting.
Oh, boy. Nobody asked you for your reasoning.
He'll lick all over my spoon and be like, here.
That's another thing. He got to lick all over her spoon. Peep what she said. Peep the psychology.
My bad. I'm sorry. Please edit that sneeze. We're going to DM that because you see the food. It look like I sneezed over the food. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
You good. So,
it didn't look like it though, brother. It looked like to the side.
It really didn't. So you see this spoon right here, right? The spoon, like she could be,
Don't you lick on my spoon.
She could be eating. Okay, boom. Right? And there'll be some like, oh, let me have some. Oh yeah, you can have it. I'll pick it up. And I will bite the spoon like a normal person. That's it. Okay? No.
He'll lick.
In her mind, this is what I did.
It's loud. It's loud.
Like, that's how she saw it. In slow motion and everything.
It's loud.
She saw coronavirus. She saw flu. She saw everything. Hepatitis C. She saw it all on that utensil.
Stop
it's like, what is it?
Stop it. How are you going to sit up here and lie like that? Okay. It ain't never been a time where we've had ice cream and you've licked on the spoon and I'm like, dude, no.
I know better than to lick on the spoon today. My point is, if I take the spoon and it touches in or around my mouth, okay, you are like, no.
That's not true. You know what? Whatever.
Once again, another compromise. Because I'm like, yo, I don't like you. Are you serious? Like, are you wrong? What?
And I can understand how
that's bothersome.
Would hurt your feelings. Like today, when he asked me for a kiss, and he had food in his mouth, it wasn't like some crazy kiss or something like that. It was like a little peck, and it was very hard for me to do. But I was like, okay, baby, and I gave him a kiss, and he looked at me with the face he had. But I did it. That's the thing. And that's the compromise.
15 years.
15 years.
And you finally did it.
Sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes.
Anyway.
All right.
Anyway, let's move on for the sake of time. My goodness.
Let's move on. So, what is more important for your peace of mind? Pleasing yourself or your spouse? When it comes to compromise, what is more important?
Pleasing myself or pleasing my spouse? What's more important, right, sis?
Yeah.
You know, this is the reality.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a balance.
Yeah.
Meaning like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a very serious thing. Me and my wife, we have spoke about having other children, right?
Right.
I told her, you want to have other children, and there are personal goals that you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
You want to fulfill in this life, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't want to have no more children with you. We have children, and if Allah is going to give us more, great. Allah. But I told her, do you want to accomplish these things that you want to accomplish in your personal life? Or do you want to have more children? Because she wants to accomplish in her personal life, no matter what I do, no matter how great of a husband I can be, I can't fill that void because this is something she really want to accomplish. And that's something, if she's able to accomplish it, it's going to make her not only happier with herself, but happier with her family.
Right.
So when it comes to doing things, pleasing yourself, there has to be a balance. At certain times, you have to please yourself.
Yeah.
In order to please your family. And other times you have to put yourself on the side to please your family, because that decision is going to hold up the whole household, the whole foundation. I don't believe there's a time. I don't believe you can pick one another. You have to balance out the time. And the end result must be, is it going to support and uphold the whole family, whatever decision needs to be made at the time, whether it's you or the spouse. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree there's moments where you have to please yourself. I believe there's moments where you have to say, look, I need to please my spouse. Oftentimes, I look at it just as a Muslim woman. And I say to myself, you know, first of all, I want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? First and foremost. And so if I am ultimately pleasing my husband, then inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with me, right? That doesn't mean that I have to not speak my mind. That doesn't mean that there can't be a conversation around how I'm feeling. That means sometimes that, you know, he may know what's best in the situation and I may not like it. And I have to say, okay, I'm going to let you do you. You know, I'm going to let you be the man and lead your family. Okay. But there are times where I say to myself, like, no, you know, this is one of those moments where I have to say, I need to please myself, and or I know that this will be beneficial for our family or better for our family. So it definitely has to be a balance. You okay?
Wasn't there 4 corn?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Corn was good, man. All right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought there was 4.
Serious conversation here.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
finish. My bad.
Anyway.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So you made me.
I'm sorry.
Lose my train of thought. Anyway, but I know that there has to be a balance. And sometimes, you know, I might have to bend the needle, you know, and make sure that I'm pleasing my husband. Instead of saying to myself and, okay, this is what I want to do, yeah. All right, y'all. Our brother Nasi had to step away, and his lovely wife Nafisa, our dear sister, is here joining us. We are still in the main course, but dessert was sounding a little bit too good, so we decided to, start our dessert. So while we're talking about the main course as well. So once again, our question is, what is more important for your peace of mind, pleasing yourself or your spouse when it comes to bending the needle?
That's a complicated question. When it comes to longevity, pleasing yourself first and foremost, because if I'm not happy, we're not going to make 20, 30, 40 years. If I'm going to be in a situation where I have to accommodate your needs first, then there's not much for me to do but to basically assimilate to you. We're supposed to be a couple. We're supposed to find our rhythm together, and after we find our rhythm, the saying goes is that they're like peas in a pod. They're 2 in 1. They're twinsies. We'll start to do and act like each other. That's normal, expected. But if I'm always trying to make sure that that my husband is first and foremost front and center with any and all demands before myself, it's just not realistic. After a while, resentment's going to build up, and I don't want to resent him. Right? I'm always there to make sure that he has everything that he needs so that he can go out, continue to provide, continue to make sure that he has peace when he comes back home from everything that the world throws. Right. And that's what I'm here to do, as he is here to do for me. But is it a matter of me actually trying to make sure that he has absolutely no stress 24/7? It's not realistic. It's just
absolutely not. Yeah.
Now, in terms of compromise for myself, whenever we have had most of our drama, real talk, is just around, anything and all things related to the kids. Because most of the time, I think one way, he thinks another. We just like, okay, well, I would prefer to do that, and this will be better for him. And we kind of clash all the time what we want the boys to do, right? But I understand that, okay, well, if we continue this, they're either going to do nothing, or we're just going to be displaying an argumentative state around our kids. And I never wanted to do that. I never wanted to have, show them that we're constantly fighting, we're bickering. I want my kids to know that it is healthy to argue in a relationship, because that's normal. But I don't want them to get into a position where they're timid throughout the day or at night because they realize that, they're talking, and that look comes over their face like, is this going to be a bad thing? I never wanted that. So for me, it was just so much more of a peaceful grace, for me to compromise in a way that will allow me to be truly satisfied with what we agreed upon with each other, even though I might not have gotten everything that I wanted. There's got to be something in there that is my clause, something in there that's his clause. Something. If I might not get 2 out of the, one of those things got to be mine. And that, it's like, all right, fine. If you would prefer for, like our question right now is what should the kids do for summer? Okay, summer's coming up. I would prefer them to be in more arts programs. He wants them to do something more athletic. Now, I'm cool with that, but I have a problem with some of the athleticism, because some of the kids are just, for me, I know this is a woman's stance, they're too freaking rough. And I don't feel like, having to kill a parent on the field. So I'm just like, okay, let's slow down for a minute. Is he ready for that? Because my children are so sensitive. Good God. But his father thinks, no, that's not going to end unless we, push him out there, get him to go. And so those are minor things, but then they kind of build up, because if it always ends up being like we can't have a conversation that surrounds parenting or something as simple as, okay, family outing. This is a 3-day weekend. What are we gonna do? You know, that could be a big thing if we don't start like saying, okay, what do we want to do? So for the most part, I would believe that for the bigger picture, it's just, it's kind of better to just kind of like, you play your deck as you hit it. That's just what it is. Play the right hand. Sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't. But it's not, we've never actually had a situation where we've had a blowout. I don't want that. We've had situations where I don't, like, I look at you, I'm like, I don't like you right now. I'm leaving. I'm going to go. Okay? I'm just not. But never to the point where after a day or 2 or 3, I'm still thinking about, the same moment, and it keeps building, because that's just a waste of time. I'm at this point where I don't feel like enduring a bunch of unnecessary stresses in my life at all, let alone in my marriage. That concept is just a little bit more stressed. Negative way when it comes to the mother and or wife of the family, because for the most part we do make a good deal of way, because we're making sure that the kids are taken care of, making sure all the
right.
We're doing a whole bunch of multitasking that it's more convenient and more taken for the man to go out and be like, all right, I'm gonna go along, I'm gonna get this hobby, or I'm gonna meet this boy, or I'm gonna
do what I gotta do.
Opportunities to just be able to throw it in there. And so then when you ask for it, it's just like, oh, you want to do this? It's like, yes, because today I don't exist. This is your time. The more and more that the years go by, and then you feel like, oh, okay, I can't do this. Maybe holding me in the classroom. Maybe I don't have what it takes. And then the doubt starts going in. And then you wondering why people get divorced. And it's like, most of the time, it's not always that the couple, like, you are the problem. It's insecurity and doubt about what your life could have been if in fact you had did this. And why have that?
It's to build up a resentment too. You know what I'm saying?
Then punch from left field, because they're like, well, we were happy. And like, yeah, you were happy, but this one person's been building for years with little bits of depression. That's why I'm like, I get wanting to say, okay, well, I'm the man of the house, I want to provide, you don't have to do anything, I've got it taken care of. It's like that's great, and you might have it taken care of, but it still does not mean that she does not want to do something that is just personally hers. It's desire to want to have an achievement, just as you've achieved your master plan business, you've achieved high whatever employment high that you have gotten in whatever rank of business that you're in. Especially if you are either a housewife, homeschool bound, caretaking. If there has to be something else, you don't want everything to literally just be what happens in the home. Because like everybody says, when they talk about couples who live for their kids and they don't actually try to do anything for each other, once the kids go, then it's like, okay, well, that was my life now. What do I do? I'm done. I don't want to.
That's never going to be me.
Stupid.
Never gonna be us. No. Go ahead, baby.
I want to have things. I want to be like, okay, yeah, you going out the house now, and now it's time for us to have fun. I have things on schedule. These were planned. We need to go now.
So, what gives me more of a peace of mind, is actually pleasing my spouse. You can say that.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to win any friends here. No. Now I knew I was going to get this reaction, but let me explain.
Please do.
My personality. If I feel if you're someone to me, if I feel that
you're someone
to me, yeah, I'm just saying I'm not this way with any nobody and a stranger or whatever.
If you mean something to the brother.
You know, if I feel you're something to me, or well, as it relates to strangers, if I feel I've done something wrong, that's how it relates to strangers. But outside of that, if you mean something to me, and if I feel that there's something that you want versus something that I want, it will bother me more if I know that every night I'm going to bed knowing that I chose my way and not yours, and now you're sitting there not doing the thing that you wanted to do or not having the thing that you wanted to have. That very much bothers me more.
That bother you more? You just don't like it when she's truly like in a corner, rolled over, not speaking to you, and she's quiet, or she may even cry. Like does emotional.
I'm gonna get to that. No, I'm gonna get to that.
Is that like that idea of okay?
That's a very good question. No, it's not that
I'm
she's.
trying not to look at Diane while you answer. Go ahead.
I'm not paying attention to her. It's not that she doesn't want. It's not that she's mad with me, or you know, it's not that. It's that I know that you're not happy.
Okay.
I can swallow you not being happy. I mean, I can swallow me not being happy about something more than I can swallow you not being happy about something. Now, that does not mean that initially I won't be like, well, whatever, this is what is going to happen, and and we're doing it my way. I'm not saying that those moments never happen. What I am saying is that will consistently weigh on my mind. Versus if I say, okay, you know what, we'll do what you want to do. I can deal with that better. In
your marriage, has there been anything you were not willing to bend the needle on, and what effect has it had on your marriage?
I think Ijlal should begin.
Yeah.
There you go. Because you have to save grace now. Let's go.
How will I say I don't appreciate the fact that y'all don't think I was being sincere about my
I didn't say that.
previous question?
You weren't being sincere?
I
said that. I never said that. I said, based off of the unequal responses to said question, that it would appear that in your sincerity, because look, I've dealt with this, in your sincerity, this is exactly how you saw it. You were doing with all intention, with all well-meaning, making sure that, all right, her needs are met. I'll go to sleep. That's great. But in hindsight, because that was your overall intention in your mind and you thought to carry it out that way, did it actually in reality fold out that way? You know what I'm saying? It's like when a part of a movie, when you see somebody think about what their future planning is going to be, and then they scroll to what the reality of that very event actually happened. But when they tell other people from the version and the perfection of the planning that they actually imagine and have.
So you just explained that I have delusions.
You didn't say you had delusions.
Oh yes, that's what you just said. You just said this was delusion. I'm delusional.
Not delusional. Okay. Seeing something out of what I say, out of stained glass, does not mean you are delusional. It simply means that you would rather see it in a way that was more pleasing to memory.
Yep.
So I have delusions of grandeur.
Yes, you do. Let's move on.
Whatever. Okay. Whatever. So what was the question that I'm supposed to be answering now?
Yes. In your marriage, has there been anything you were not willing to bend the needle on? And what effect has it had on your marriage?
I can't think of anything.
Oh, Mike.
Help me out.
Okay, now you're just not convincing.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I can't think of anything. Help me out. What do you help? Here you go. You're not answering the question for yourself. You help me answer the question for myself. what was something that I wasn't willing to compromise on that is playing an effect? What is it that is that played an effect on my
I
marriage?
don't even know if we want to get into that, but I really don't.
We have to be cognizant of the time. So what was it? Give myself 2 minutes.
I think that let me see. I think you have to learn and understand your family dynamic and how that your family dynamic. And I don't mean immediate. I mean extended.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But like you had to learn that.
Yes.
And for a very long time, it had a really huge effect on our marriage.
Right.
Until now. So,
yes. Okay.
And that was something he had to learn.
I okay. There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
So in terms of
I agree with that.
Say that again.
In terms of family dynamic, you're talking problems.
Putting my extended family
first
over your own house.
Over my household.
Over the household. So that was something he had to learn, and it was something we had to work very, very hard on.
Now,
if understanding. Go ahead.
Explain, because some people would be like, well, what's the problem with that? That's why families are rooted together. And if you come from a big family, then we're all, we all do all these things together. We do charitable events together. We do schools together. And so, just like people have with their girlfriends and their boyfriends, why can't we all have like this big family chat where everybody makes every decision as one household and family, because that's what reunions and everything's supposed to be about? Why is it a bad thing if one couple decides that they don't want to have that much input in their lives from external family? Why do you?
So it's not that. It's not that. It'd be different if it was that. It'd be different if it was a collective family involvement. Everybody in the external family, it wants to do one thing. Everyone is on the same page, and now they want you to also be on that same page. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. It sometimes it may appear that that's what it is.
I think, yeah.
But it's not the case.
It's not the case. There are a lot of in that it appears as a collective, but in that appearance, there are individual motivations.
Okay.
Personalized motivations that definitely don't jive with everybody else's.
Gotcha.
I think, I don't know, honestly. I really don't know what mine was that what is something I wasn't willing to bend the needle on? Can you think? Child, because I feel like I've been bending a little too much.
How about we circle back and let's go to Nafisa. Find it interesting if you're ready to tell me everything that please. And I say, no.
Like, I feel like...
I am easy.
I feel like...
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
No.
My shirt reads easy like Sunday morning.
But it's interesting because you do call me easy, okay? So that must mean...
I will speak for my household right now.
I think, yeah.
In terms of, and I see because he's not here, I very much know what he will not bend the needle on. And it usually is surrounding the conflicts that we have when it comes to just something as simple as date night, right? He will not bend the needle on the health, safety of his kids. And I mean that in any regard. And so it does make it very complicated at times to do things, which is why I'm so much happy that they're much older now. But like even with his own relatives, my mother-in-law right now, she's not feeling as well as she used to. And so as lovely as she is to come over and be with her grandkids, it's just he does not have the security in his heart. Like other people will be like, no, send him to grandma. He won't even do that. And so he's not budging. And I can try my best to be like, okay, well, maybe convince you to do it this way or that. If he is not feeling completely whole about it, and if we go and do it and anything happens, it's going to be a fight I don't want. And so I sacrifice, some of our time, unfortunately, just so he doesn't have to go through that. Because it really does mess him up. It won't mess me up. I won't take it that way. I'll be like, all right, fine. It's not the end of the world if he got scraped because he did something stupid, fell and hit himself. I grew up around 7 other siblings. We was always doing dumb shit. So I'm like, I'm used to kids hurting themselves. It's just like, okay, and for him, he's like, okay, we'll see. We clash on that a lot because he thinks that I will take on, more instances where they will have, more danger. And I'm like, that's not it. I'm not throwing him in front of a truck. I just simply said, I'm not going to react if he scraped his knee on the sidewalk. I'm just not going to react. Clean that up. You're good. Shake it off. We're good. Right.
Right.
Especially if it happens where it's like, okay, I let you go sit with your auntie today. I'm not going to blame auntie because of that. Now, if auntie happened to be on her phone and, your head was in the toilet and now my apartment's flooded, and that's different. Okay, then that's legitimate. It's like, okay, we could be upset about this. But he won't. When it comes to his kids and their health, like a big family, and this is where, crossing one of the concerns that y'all had just presented, this is where family collides, because family does not like you to tell them that they aren't what they don't want to hear. They're not responsible enough. That's one. Even though they know they have things they should be doing, they don't want to hear that. Two, they do not. The older the family member is, the harder it is to say to them, I want this done with my kid in this way. Please don't do that, because it's like, to them, it makes them feel like, oh, are you trying to tell me how to raise children? Now you got this whole, big up, and it's like, okay, no one's trying to offend, especially in the grandparents' territory. You do not want to listen, right?
Yeah.
And so my husband is very grossed out by people kissing his kids. He can't take it. He doesn't like it. And I'm saying, and we didn't grow up that way. I'm like, no, we're affectionate. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get my nephew. Only because I started living with this dude. That now I literally have to. I look at it a different lens now. Now I do not approach people's children, but let alone kiss them or anything that would be remotely considered intimate affection, if I have not given the full-blown permission to do so and the baby looks secure with it, I just, because it's placed upon me now. Like I see what literally comes over him when somebody he considers strange goes anywhere near his child's face. Okay. Just
I get it.
I remember it became a blowout, with some of my siblings, because it's like, okay, I understand. I know you love it. I get it. But it's either me please you or try to make sure that he's secure with the fact that when he's not around, I'm not just letting anybody just do whatever they want because I can't stand up to family. I don't want to do that. Right. And so it's one thing. It's a major thing because you're an affectionate person, but it's that one thing. And so no matter what, that's what it has always been. And after a while, if everybody just kind of just accepts that they have no way of bending that needle themselves, they have no outside influence, it's not gonna happen. It's not a father thing. Like, no, that's him. You can't do it. Then it became, an overall acceptance. It was painful to start, but it took time for it to accept.
I understand that.
And what's yours?
Yeah, what's yours?
I I think the only thing that I will not bend on is what I won't bend on. Two things in regards to family. I will not bend on me never needing the presence of my extended family in some way, shape, or form in my life. I'm never going to be like, we're the family that's going to be the loner. I don't want to live like that. I don't like it.
Mhm.
You know, my beloved mother and father lived their lives that way. And it was good for us because we had numbers, but it wasn't good altogether because now you don't have relationships with all these other people in your family. And I don't want that for my kids. I'm very strict on it. I'm like, look, I used to have a whole entire memory of summers playing with my cousins, and then it just stopped. It just stopped. And I never understood why. I never got a reason for why. And I figured it had to be something where my parents must have had a blowout with my aunts and uncles or whatever happened. But it just stopped. Mm-hmm. And so I don't ever want one person of a house to ruin it for the entire party. It's like, okay, fine. If I have to deal with this one person, or you're just making it so that we clash all the time, the other thing that I won't bend on is the sanctity of my house. you're not going to mess with it. So that's just what it is. If you're going to be a problem, unfortunately, I will have to pass you up first before it intervenes in this house. I don't want that. I would like it if we can continue to be family, continue to be best friends, it doesn't matter. It's like we have a good relationship, but now you're trying to impress yourself in a position that you don't belong in my relationship. And it seems to me that you do not care about the health and the emotional sanctity of my own self. Like I want you to get along with my family. So if that's the case, I would believe that it would be of utmost importance to you to get along because you claim you love me. If you love me, you would do that. You would not make it more difficult. And so little things that may irritate you, I understand it's an irritation, but it's my house. It only has to do with my house. It's not something that it truly affects your home or anywhere else you go. It's only mine. And so it's like, if that has become a problem, those are the two things I don't bend on. I am not going to bend on ever breaking Kindred to the point where I'm a lone rogue and I just don't communicate with family ever. I don't communicate with lifelong friends ever. Like, no, I don't want that. I want to make time, but it's like, okay, I haven't seen my sisters in a long time. We got to set up some type of date. Let's get together, do something some weekend, and make that a priority. And then if that's an annual thing, great. But those are the types of things I don't want to bend on. And I'm not going to on you being a true, effective influence in the disruption of my own house. Because it makes no sense. To me, that it is more important to you that you have more weight in my life than my husband and my kids do. And that makes no sense.
Absolutely.
About me. All the things that I refuse to bend on, I'm not doing that. And sometimes that involves that he and we're gonna have to get into some arguments because I know you don't like certain people, but okay, fine. That does not mean that because one piece of fruit at the table is spoiled that we just gonna say crap to the whole buffet. We're not doing that. It's like, okay, you don't have to eat that. That's fine. But everything else is pleasing, you got to try to make this work. Because for me, I try to do my best to make everything work for you. So I would consider it to be it's almost like it's an unsolicited request. I request it, I don't demand it, but in hindsight, you've seen everything that I am truly trying to do. You should try to do it. That's just what it is. It's not where I'm going to give you ultimatums. I don't do the ultimatum things. If I have to ultimatum you, we're not working out. That's just what it is. I should not have to be like,
Yeah. I think for me, I've realized which mines are, and there's just something I kind of developed within the last 2 years. I am unwilling to compromise on the boundaries I have set. Right. So those boundaries, it doesn't matter who it is. It can be boundaries with him, my children, or anybody else. I am unwilling to compromise on them because for me, then it just kind of like harms me. You know what I'm saying? And my peace of mind, the way I feel, my spirit. So I have to say to myself, like, I'm unwilling to do that. I am unwilling to, and he knows this. If you have done any type of harm to my children, whether you have done it intentionally or unintentionally or however you do it, I cannot have you around. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like want to distance myself from you. I want to distance my children from you. I don't care if it's family. You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't matter to me. Like, I will say to myself, like, nah, I'm not feeling you. I don't want them around, so, and we kind of have to go back and forth with that sometimes. But for me, it's like a no, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want it. So it's like, I have to protect my children, and I have to protect myself. So I think those are like the two things I really am unwilling to compromise on.
Because that goes back to mine, does it not? It goes back to you needing to be completely healthy the morning you wake up, the minute you go to bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're hating whatever decision was made simply for the protection of other people, then that's gonna mess with. Eventually, it's gonna weigh on the marriage. It's like,
yes, it is. Yeah, you start to resent your spouse, your partner. It really does. It really weighs on the marriage. All right, y'all. So we are going to head into our next course, which is the dessert. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not answer this question? Yeah. His face. Baby, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I promise you, this ring just keeps falling.
It straight up keeps falling.
I'm so sorry. I really thought you answered first.
Do you not want to hear? Do you not want me to tell what I'm not willing to compromise on?
No, I really want you to. I really want you to tell me. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to do that.
No, in her defense, we started off with you, but then you asked her to help you out, and then you said she.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. I didn't forget.
Her defense. That is how that works.
Thank you. See, I didn't forget about you. That's exactly how that went. Rewind the tape.
That was for the second question.
No,
it wasn't. It was for this one, baby.
It was not for this one.
Yes, it was. It started off that way because I literally threw it to you. I said, you know what? You've been getting pretty dog this entire hour. Maybe you should take the wheel. And you couldn't take the wheel.
So what did I say I wasn't willing to bend the needle on?
You said you don't know.
And then if I said you help me, then
I said what I said.
What did you say?
I don't remember, man. It's in there.
She said, huh?
You said you really helped me, and she said that. I mean, try to remember. Just be
right. I can't remember
because I didn't. Because nothing was said.
It's comical that after everything that was been said, you really truly can't think of anything that you wanted to bend the needle on, and you said to her, "Well, you got to give me something." And so she said, "You know what? Let's not even go there. Let's start with me." And so I said, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go."
Okay, so therefore there was nothing that was mentioned
But in your I didn't pass. The point was I didn't pass you up.
Okay. No, it wasn't I gave up my chance to speak. It was that I can't think of anything that I'm not willing to bend the needle on.
Okay, so
and neither could you.
What? So you got thoughts now?
No.
Okay.
Neither could you. Yes.
At the time, and I said, and then I said, you know what? I do have two things. And then, so now you thought about it and you have something?
Can you think of anything I'm not willing to bend the needle
on? I don't know. Maybe I said something before, but right now, no.
So there's my answer. I don't think there's anything I'm not willing to bend the needle on.
Now he's pretty much, he's Yeah, I think the way our relationship is now, it's definitely, he's like, okay, maybe I could listen. I can stand to listen.
That's
to
not what this is about. I can stand to listen. It's about, you just said, no, there's things I'm not willing to compromise
listen to what she has to say and compromise. That's what I mean.
No.
Okay, well, never mind. That's not what I mean, man.
No, there isn't. You just said there are things that you are not willing to compromise.
Yes.
Okay. I'm saying that I can't think of anything that I am not willing to compromise on.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of one thing that I'm like, no, forget it. I don't care. Bump it.
No, not now. No, he's not. I don't really think there's anything. Yeah. He made a lot of, yeah. All right. Let me see. Okay, like I said, we're into the last course, which is dessert. We've already had our dessert. We had a lovely brownie sundae over here. What did you guys have, or what did you have?
I had a banana split.
A banana split?
Delicious.
Oh man,
that sounds really good. We kept it simple this time.
Memory.
Yeah.
It's a memory now.
Yeah, it's a memory, right? So just so you know, my lovely husband served up our dessert. So he gave me like this sweet little to his to his defense. I did ask for a small small amount, but child, he brought me a spoonful of ice cream. The ice cream scoop was this small. Like, I'm like, baby, seriously, I could have put that whole thing.
She's holding up a teasppoon, by the way.
Okay.
It was that small.
It was really small.
And when she described how much she wants, she specifically said, just a little toot. Those were her words. A little toot.
Do you know who
So I bought her a little toot worth. And then when I did that, it's, oh my goodness, you could have gave me more.
But that wasn't the kicker.
Well served with dessert. So I had
when I said,
you know how he eat. You know,
I know. But the kicker was when I said, baby, go get the dessert and serve it. This is what he brought back. Do you see what he served it in?
What's wrong with that?
That's literally like a little oven cup. That's what you put muffin.
Yes.
That's when you put ice cream in this.
Is that your glass teacup?
Child.
What?
Talking about so they can see it.
You should have set I set the plates aside first. So he can't go in there and mess up anything.
First of all, I wasn't thinking about presentation with yours. I was just thinking about what was going to hold the little toot that you wanted. Okay? And the second of all, I was like, oh, they need to be able to see it. So I put it in the Yamin cup. What's the problem?
Nothing, baby. Put it over there. Anyway, all right. So our last question, you did a good job.
Don't you pay that.
Our last question for the night is,
What?
Giving you the baby pants.
Right.
You see, it's ridiculous.
Whatever. Our last question for the night is, have you found yourself compromising more in your marriage?
Am I answering that first?
Yes, brother, please.
Yes. Yes, I do.
I'm just going to enjoy my juice. Go ahead.
I like how, anyway, yes, I do. I do. That's it. That's that. Yes. I definitely find myself compromising more.
Okay. Lay in.
If you want more definitive reason,
that would be helpful. Back up your claim, sir.
I think.
This is a long.
I think you should not.
No. Anyway, as you can see, she has a very strong personality.
As she should.
And
this a long pause.
And I don't have a very strong personality.
Oh, okay.
I don't, not in that sense. I just not in that sense. Not I don't. I'm not. I am not as aggressive as you are.
What?
I'm not. You are more aggressive than me. I don't mean in the sense that you're willing to fight somebody. That's not what I'm talking about. But you are very much more aggressive in your pursuit of what it is.
In my pursuit of happiness.
In your pursuit of what it is that you want.
I will give you that.
Okay. And thus far, you see when they always play me, now all these things are starting to line up. You're much more aggressive in your pursuit of what you want. I also said I can't think of anything I'm not willing to compromise on. And then that backs up my claim of me saying, as far as my peace of mind, it means more to me that you are happy with something than for me to just continue to go forward what I want, knowing that you're not happy about it. See how it's all connecting and makes sense now?
Brother,
so
please.
Yes,
Brother,
I
please.
very much find myself compromising more in my marriage. But let's talk about yours.
Yeah.
You answer the question.
Let's talk about the marriage I'm in. Let's talk about the marriage I am in.
Oh boy.
Brother, that is not true.
No, just answer your. Don't
I definitely.
In answering this question, it shouldn't start off with brother. That is not true.
Okay, that's fine. I definitely feel like I make more compromises in our marriage. Point being, a lot of the situations that we are in, okay, I tend to compromise on. A lot of the things that you may want for our family, I tend to compromise on. That doesn't mean that I don't necessarily state my piece, but it does mean that a lot of times it definitely goes your way. The needle is bent more towards your way. Now, I would say because of situations and the current boundaries I have currently set and have to set for myself, most recently, I think you might find yourself saying, I compromise more. Okay?
Okay.
I think you might say you compromise more, but I think knowing you, knowing how you work, knowing what I just said about how, you had to learn when it came to certain things about your family, that I had to make some pretty huge compromises.
Making huge compromises and compromising more is two different things.
And I've definitely had to compromise more. I definitely had to compromise more over the years.
Okay.
That is not to say that you haven't had your fair share of compromises, but I think I definitely had to compromise more. Now, like I said in the beginning, I did not go quietly. And that's where you feel like.
Oh, no.
I spoke.
See what happened here? This question is not about me. Why are you bringing it? That's where you feel like you ain't got this. You don't.
My turn.
You're not.
No, because you mentioned I was aggressive.
No,
stop.
Because you weren't happy with my answer, so I was trying to explain it.
Stop.
No, you weren't happy with my answer, so I was trying to explain it.
And you're not happy with mine.
But I'm not.
But you're making noises.
So, her turn.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. So
this is ridiculous. This is your personal question. I shouldn't be in it.
It's
you're gonna be in it.
Haphazard for you not to be in it. We're talking about
no, and that's kind of hypocritical.
No. You see how you're putting me in it? You see how you're putting me in it?
Can you listen? Thank you, sweetheart.
Goodness.
Just so you guys know, we do not argue like
this is not an argument.
And we don't really have like all these whatever, but this is an interesting
not an argument.
This interesting conversation. I would say
ridiculousness.
No, stop it. You said I am much more aggressive.
Right now, not bending the needle. This is what you are not bending. So we
who not bending the needle? Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's so cute of you. That's so cute of you, Nafisa. You're saying I'm not willing to bend the needle while she continues to make her point.
She's not making. You gotta let her.
Tag team. Tag team.
It's not a tag team. It's not a tag
Yeah,
team.
okay. All right.
Finish her
Go ahead.
now.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like he made this
now, what you can try to do is do what she does. As she is speaking, now you can make all of the facial gestures from here to Timbuktu because her face is quite hilarious when you're speaking, but she's still quiet. So go ahead.
Thank you. And you put me in it. You put me in yours. You said I was aggressive. Okay. You said I'm not as aggressive as you are. And so I want to explain that.
Okay, go ahead.
She wants to explain.
So you said that I was aggressive. And you're right. And I think that's why you feel as I don't compromise because I state my piece and I say what I'm going to have to say. And oftentimes you want me to just go along with it. And I'm not that kind of a woman, and you know I'm not. So because of that, you feel that I don't, or you don't get your way and you compromise more simply because I say what I have to say. But in reality, I compromise a whole lot more. I compromise a lot more in situations. I bend the needle a lot more. I bend the needle for you, for your children, and others. And you know it.
Giselle, do you have anything that you want to counter or?
Are you kidding me? Nope.
Nope. You're good. You're good. Okay.
What about yourself? Yeah.
Was that the right? Because I think we are still on the same question, right?
Yeah. Well, do you compromise more in your marriage? Do you think you compromise?
Okay. What I find myself doing, I don't find myself necessarily compromising because a compromise would, like I said, for me earlier, compromise means that at least one thing I'm going to get out of this, if not everything. Okay. At least one thing. So that way it's like, okay, fine. I got my 1 out of 3. You have the other 2 this time. All right. I will, acquiescence to defeat right now. And then we'll have something else, then we'll come back at it. And for that reason, I find myself doing more as opposed to compromising. I find myself seeking out, being really ambitious about getting out exactly what it is I want and making it clear as possible by trying to repeat it so that when it does come back around and we are in a situation where we're going to probably have an argument about it, you can't say that you didn't know where I was coming from because I was very clear this is what I wanted from the jump. And you may not have liked it, but this is what I wanted. So now we're still trying to find a way to get to that point because you still you're not ready for it yet. And so I just tried to be as, unmysterious about what I want as possible. Now, I know what he'll say, okay, well, it's not clear to me. There isn't enough clarity here. Sometimes I feel like you do try to, take on more wing because you have more of an emotional standpoint here, which I don't like because I personally prize myself on not being an emotional person. I'm not an emotional person. I've been around emotional people. And when it comes to those, bends that we had to make in terms of our own kids, like what I mentioned before, there's so many of those things I would rather not do. For me, I personally do not care. It's real easy going, but it upset you. So because it upset you, this is now going to be my world that I'm going to have to address. And I felt that I did not take it in an emotional manner. Because if it hadn't been emotional, my opinion, from my definition of it, if it hadn't been emotional, then those who were trying to actually press their weight on a decision that should have just been between husband and wife would have gotten their weight pressed and they would have gotten their way.
Yeah.
Or would have been something that we would be discussing because you could hear in my voice, all right, no, that's not you, that's so-and-so I'm hearing. You never hear that. You can't ever say that from me at all.
Yeah.
So because of that, I believe that I have made plenty of concessions to make sure that this was taken care of. But at no point in time throughout that were you unaware of what it is I wanted from the jump. You know what I want. There's stuff that I've said to Nasi over and over again that I still very much want. We're still not there yet, and it's taking time, And I'm the type of person, I try to take lead as much as I can in my marriage from my late mother, and I try to, lead a horse to water, but with slight nudges.
Mm-hmm.
But just okay, didn't work today. All right, it'll work next week. Okay, maybe it'll work, and that's fine with me. That's really fine. As long as overall I'm happy. Then I'm not going to pursue it in such a manner that's going to have you bending backwards just to say, fine, you got what you wanted, or for you to be like, all right, well, see, now you can proudly say, see, I'm always doing this for you and you never do. I'm not
right.
We're never having that. Right. And I'm
right.
That, okay, I want to make this clear that this compromise, this wasn't, okay, you got something for you. I'm like, no. The compromise at the end of the day for me, it has to be for us. If it's still not for us, then it doesn't work, because I'm not going to be in a continual marriage where, oh, well, she won, so it's good. Like, no, because again, there will be a continual cycle of, a pointing fingers game at, who really does better for the house and why.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, now in terms of lifestyle, I compromise hella more.
Yeah.
The choice. In terms of lifestyle, and I will say that again, I will give contingencies to that. Yes, my husband provides everything for us so that we can be peaceful in our home, and I can raise my kids, and I can make sure that they're taken care of, and I can make sure that he's taken care of, and everybody has what they need. However, in doing that, I now had to hopefully give up a lot of freedoms that comes with that package, such as, now one, I was never the person that really cared for, employed life, but having a job in a world that is outside of your house means you have now, you get to embrace new experience on a regular basis, even in things that you think is not new because you're doing the same line maybe for the same set of hours. Every single day may perhaps not be the same, and you may have actual different stories for the sake of telling, because you never know what to expect in your day. I'm here, I know exactly what to expect here. He calls me, oh, how was your day? I'm like, you know what it's like. I can literally tell you off the back of my hand. You know what my day is. It doesn't really, there is no leeway. And yes, I love my kids, but what I'm doing right now, I can't do this with my children. And it really does start to weigh on adults when they're constantly in childhood speech at all times. And so I would like to have.
Oh, don't I know? Yeah.
With somebody who's behind, I didn't have to wipe today. That's all I ask. Can we make that work? You, sir, into a whole bunch of people. You may have your feelings about them, but you spoken to a functional adult today outside of me. That's one up more than I have had in 12 hours. Okay. So in terms of that, that's one. Two, we had decided a long time ago, because of the throngs of the pandemic, that we were going to continue the route of our children just being homeschooled, right? Because there's no point. By the time that he was in the middle of the pandemic, he was just this close, ready for 3K, right? And so it's like all of this is happening when schools were ready to go. He was about 4. And so now a lot of people are like, well, see, you should have just put him in. You missed the whole period of having to pay for daycare and everything. You could have just went right in. It's like, yeah, I could have done that. But there was just, again, like I said, the thing that he will not bend on when it comes to these kids' health, it's just too much of a scary aspect. And it was not something that was going to make my home healthy for us to have to wonder if anything were to negatively happen to them, right? And I just could not risk, not just health-wise, but risk anything being pushed upon my child that shouldn't have been. And now I have to bring that back into my house. And so we kept that going. Because of that, I took the degree that I worked hard for, and I am now using it, but I'm using it as a homeschooling mother, teacher. My job is 24/7 times 2. It's on speed. Okay. It does not stop at all. I have to struggle to break the mommy mode from the teacher mode and make that clear to my kids as I'm doing it, which is too hard because they don't see it as anything else. Okay. So my entire world is now embedded into this household in such an intertwined fashion that my children believe that my entire placement is literally in this house. When I step out to go get groceries, they have a fit because I verbatim, mommy doesn't leave the house. That's our job. And he's talking about himself. And he said, he leaves the house. Okay? He leaves the house. I don't leave the house. Mommy doesn't leave the house. What is that? No, you're supposed to be here to love me. His words. That's my focus in life. Okay. So they don't see it as a normalcy, as opposed to, like when our mother was growing up, it's like, yeah, you worked, you went to school, you told other people's kids, you came back, you complained about how horrible these freaking people were and how arrogant some of these children were, and you were stressed out. You had our food ready, our dinner was ready, you got involved with all our projects. It was, I would kiss the very feet of my mama if she was still here, thinking about all the stuff she was doing while raising all of us, while going to work. It's insane. But there, at least in that place, what she would not give up was some semblance of independency that let her have her own personality away from her family. She really needed that, because my mother, outside of her family, wasn't necessarily a different woman, but it was a woman that you wouldn't know if you never seen it. And that's needed. It's just needed. It helps somebody stay functional and keep growing, because there are things that you are going to need in order to have a wholesome mentality, and it can't just be one singularly road. I mean, if you think about all the things that you do, Jalal, you have several roles, and you most likely get to exercise those several roles. Whether or not Leanne may get to exercise all of her roles is really contingent on when she has freedom from the house, because that's really the huge basis of it. And so in lifestyle, I'm the one that compromises everything. I have no other choice but to compromise everything. If, in fact, in agreement, you agreed to go out here, then that means that everything else for me in terms of lifestyle will most likely come second. And that happens a lot. And a ton of mothers say, look, there's always this conversation that they never do enough for themselves, because it's true. It's not like we're trying to, rack it up and then
That's a whole nother episode, child.
like, oh, you owe me this, because no, it's just what happens.
And I think that's what he thinks. Like, I think he thinks he's not looking at the lifestyle when he says he compromises more. And it's like, look, I know you may believe that there are certain things you compromise on, but there are certainly things that I'm consistently compromising and you have no idea, like you couldn't count them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what, you may not be including in those things. There are things you are able to just get up and go do. You know what I'm saying? And I am not, I'm not able to do that. I'm not able to compromise those type of things, so as much as I think that you definitely have grown and you definitely have said to yourself, like, look, let me try to please my wife, there's just certain things that you will never be able to, that I'm always going to compromise more on. And that's just what it is. And it's almost like you don't even recognize that they're happening. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that happens every day. It's just kind of like, okay, this is what it is, but this was a great conversation. I think it was our most heated one. Well, I don't think I don't know if he's not here to say it himself, but what do you think he would say?
Well, I don't want to think what he will say, because I don't want to be accused of again.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Situation.
Okay.
I'm going to again do the higher road thing and bow out. Okay, so I'm gonna step aside and let him come right on in. He's gonna say exactly what he's gonna say. I'm not having this.
All right. Okay. Alhamdulillah for that. All right. Thank you. So our brother Nasi is back, and our sister Nafisa has she exited, and she's gonna let him speak and say what answer his half of the question. So have you found yourself compromising more in your marriage?
At one point, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Actually dealing with my wife's family, I found myself compromising at a small part. I would say the result of that was becoming very sour.
Yeah.
It's becoming sour. So what I had to do, just so it wouldn't turn into a whole totally sour situation, was to just bring balance back again. I think that's one of the most important things, to bring balance back. Because and sometimes you get busy, you at work, you're moving around, then you're like, okay, do this, do that. You're not really paying attention to things. Then you're like, all right, this is okay, this is okay. You're not really thinking about how this is going to affect family. So at one point, I did. I see that things were going to go sour, because no relationship, no one should be compromising more than another person on a regular basis, because it wears another person down. It doesn't matter whether it's male or female. We don't compromise. We need to work towards building a strong foundation, growing a family, having our family on unshakable grounds. Yes, at one point, absolutely. But we rectify that fast, and everything just resumed back to being good with us, good with the family, and we just move forward.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I think definitely it's the same thing. I think there's a balance, like we mentioned before, that we should definitely, like you said, no one should be compromising more. Obviously, sometimes each of us as individuals will think, like, I find myself compromising more in these situations or these types of situations, or, but I think that's up to the individual, like we kind of all discussed before you came back in. So there's definitely instances where I think I might be compromising much more, and I think there's Ijlal has stated that he feels there are times he's compromising more, and I guess that's just a part of marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes you might feel that way. Sometimes, as long as it isn't, I guess, you aren't really compromising all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to resent my husband because I have set boundaries for myself and for him, for my kids, for everybody. Like I will tell somebody no in a minute and I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. I have boundaries, and I definitely have to make those boundaries. I think within the last few years, I've definitely made boundaries for myself. I made boundaries within our marriage, just, for other relationships that I have. And I think because of that, a lot of times it may go your way or it may not, So,
Yeah.
and I don't feel bad about it. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Because that's where I'm at now in my life. So, yeah, I think definitely. So I guess we're approaching the end of the show, brother. Did you have anything to say, babe?
Oh, no. Just this corn was really good with this whatever that garlic yummy was. It was
He is like really into food. He doesn't compromise on food. That's another thing he don't compromise on. Eating. Okay.
I compromise on food. You have made me I have compromised several times because he was like, well, you shouldn't be blah 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 blah.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
That comes to your health. I'm not sure if that's
It's still a compromise.
I don't know if that's a compromise, unless I think it's just more of me trying to make sure you're healthy.
It's still a compromise.
A compromise. Oh, okay. A compromise of what you want to do. Got it.
There you go.
Okay. Got it.
But no.
Yeah. So, all right. Everybody, we're at the end of the show, and I want to say thank you all for joining Dinner and a Podcast. And we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I know it got a little heavy in some areas, as we were discussing things, but
it was ganging up on me, good brother, while you was going, just so you know that.
But you're going to see shows like that. We might not always agree. We might, disagree sometimes, and sometimes we might be neutral, and that's okay. And that's totally fine. Just know it's all love, and that's healthy marriage. It's okay to debate. It's okay to talk about real things and have real situations and not always agree on every single thing. But as long as you do it with respect and love, it's all good. So make sure you join us for our next show in a couple of weeks. And
like and subscribe. Yes. Thank you much.
Yep, like and subscribe on all platforms. We are on all platforms. And don't forget to build family, build love, build black, and eat good while doing it. All right, y'all. Have a good night. And thank you again.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.